Hello, I'm EnterElysium and we're back in KSP. This is a Modlight where we're going to have a look at some mod and, well, see what it does and decide whether it's good or not. It probably is good considering, you know, I actually decided to cover it. So, let's have a look. What have we got here? A lovely nighttime. Ah, what's the nighttime for? Well, it's better for looking at engines. So, what we're looking at today is HotRockets by Nazari, which basically takes all the stock engines that we have here and adds new particle effects to them. Now, a lot of you know that in 0.24, the last version to come out as of this video, they introduced the Rapier Engine and they introduced a new particle system, and the Rapier Engine takes advantage of this particle system and looks nice and pretty because of it. But all the stock engines haven't been updated to use it, so they're still using the old system, which doesn't look as good. Now, someone made this amazing mod, which basically takes all the stock old engines and updates them to use this new particle system, and they look fantastic. It also works with a couple of other ones. I've seen there's a mod that adds a few nuclear engines. I think it's called, I don't know, the engines are called like the FTML or something like that. I can't remember the name of the mod off the top of my head, but they use this system as well. They integrate into it, and it looks lovely. I think KW Rocketry uses the effects as well. Absolutely brilliant. There is absolutely nothing that can really be said. It's more sort of you have to see it to see what can be done with the new particle system. So, without further ado, let's turn on infinite fuel, whack the throttle up to max, take the HUD off, and turn on our first engine. Now, the first engine is going to be the ion engine, which, you know, previously it would go blue, but there wouldn't be any sort of effects. Oh, doesn't that look pretty? Absolutely gorgeous. See, this actually almost makes me want to use ion engines. I mean, I probably still won't because I'd have to go away for maybe a week and come back to find that my burn had been completed. But it almost makes me want to use them. I mean, this looks absolutely beautiful. Look at that sort of halo pulsating effect. It's just, oh, absolutely gorgeous. So let's get rid of that one. Whoops. Now, next on to the SRBs. So we've got the big ass SRB, and look at that. Nice and beautiful. Bit spiky, lots of sort of yellowish tint. Really nice. Get rid of that. And now the next SRB basically uses the same sort of effect. I think the design is sort of trying to keep the look of all the different fuel types and the different types of engines in line with each other. So all the SRBs look similar, and all the liquid fuel looks similar, etc. Now, this one, of course, is, you know, pretty similar, except maybe not as strong in its effect, which is cool. Now, looking at the little Separatron, and a couple of the stock ones haven't actually been changed to this new particle system, mainly because they're so small that you don't really notice them, and they wouldn't really have a particularly big impact. So, little Separatron doesn't do anything different as far as I can tell. If it does, then it's too small to really tell. I don't know. It doesn't look that different to me, but then again, I don't spend a lot of time looking at Separatrons, so... Now, the side-mounted Radial tiny little booster, I can't remember what it's called, but the tiny little one that gives you, like, 1 thrust or something. Nothing new there. Tiny probe engine. Nothing new there. The 0.625 meter engine. Same as the Sepatron. I don't think there's a difference there. Now the mainsail. Now the mainsail looks pretty. Look at that. Nice and orangey and yellow, and then sort of with a tiny bit of greenish to bluish here to sort of signify the ridiculous heat that's coming out of this engine. It looks absolutely gorgeous, that one. And similarly, the skipper. Ah, so pretty. Basically, the skipper is the same as the mainsail, but not as strong in its particle effects, which pretty much describes the engine, so I think that's well suited for it. Whee! Boom. And similarly, this one, I can't remember the name of it, but is it the Rockomax one? Yeah. Basically, much more contained and confined, but not as strong as either the two ones, which pretty much suits the engine again. I think there's a very strong theme going here that all engines of similar sort of types try and keep the same particle effect to make sure you can signify them pretty easily, which I completely agree with. But now let's get on to a fun one. That one is actually different to these ones. The nuclear engine. Ooh. Not a particularly strong particle effect, but a very colourful one. So it suits the engine quite nicely considering, you know, it's not a particularly strong engine. not particularly a realistic mod in terms of the colours, and if that really bugs you, then don't get it, but I see absolutely no reason why you would, just on a stylistic front, want to get these. I mean, come on, we've sound in space in this game, at least a little bit, and that's a stylistic option in that, you know, it helps you immerse yourself in the game, and this stylistic option to have pretty engines, I think is well worth it. Let's get rid of that one. Same again, liquid fuel, looking pretty cool. Not a lot of particles, but a very confined, same sort of colour scheme. LV45 and the LV30, both very similar. And then let's get on to some new ones. The Aerospike, everyone's favourite for, you know, well, I suppose it's, yeah, it's not everyone's favourite now. The Rapier's kind of taken over, but it used to be very efficient in air and in space, and thus it would be used for space planes. Not the case now with the Rapier, because everyone would just Rapier it, but let's try firing this up, and it looks absolutely delicious. Look at that. Beautiful blue glow. Oh. I do love the Aerospike quite a bit. Whee! Turbojet. Now, the jet engines in the main game don't really give off much of a glow or a particle trail, and I suppose, you know, it's kind of realistic in real life you don't get jet engines with giant blue streaks coming out the back. But, come on, for stylistic reasons, this looks amazing coming out the back of your jet or your space plane or whatever the hell you're using it for. Absolutely beautiful. Let's go with that, and try the standard jet engine. And there we've got sort of a weak orangey yellow glow. Really nice. I cannot stress how much I think this mod is a necessity for anyone playing Kerbal Space Program currently. Now, this new particle system, let's get to that. Whee! This new particle system is going to be introduced for the old engines at some point in the future. It hasn't been done yet because, well, they haven't got round to it. It only just came out in the last version, and eventually they will replace the old engine effects with this new particle system. So it's not like this mod isn't going to be integrated into the new game eventually. It will happen at some stage, but until that stage happens, this mod is beautiful. I cannot see for the life of me why you wouldn't want this mod integrated into the game right now. Just go and download it. The description will contain the link. Get it, put it on your Kerbal Space Program, and go. I mean, you can't even not want it on sort of a I have too many mods already overview, because all it does is put some particle effects in. It has very little overhead, there isn't really any large images or new parts. It's literally just making it so that it takes advantage of the new particle system. So there's very little overhead in this mod, and it looks hot as hell. I've been EnterElysium. Please like and subscribe, blah blah blah, you know the drill. Stay shiny, everybody.